For today is spousal and partnership or partner sponsorship in Canada. Kasi this is based on a lot of feedback and questions that we got from the last episode na napadaanan namin to ni attorney. So we harvested some of your questions and we're going to answer them mamaya towards the end part of the show, closer to the latter part of the hour. Pero ngayon, no, so i-streamline muna natin sa sponsorship pero spousal and partners. Later, if we have time, then you can ask about other family members na gusto nyo or you're interested to sponsor here in Canada. So simulan na natin ang ating discussion. The first one will be siguro a little introduction, Attorney Jake. Like, why does Canada allow sponsorship of relatives or spouses and partners?
Yeah. Salamat, Cherry. So last time po napag-usapan natin yung nga paano makapunta dito po sa Canada, no? Or bakit ba maraming Pilipino dito, halimbawa. So yung pumupunta dito sa Canada, gusto nila maging permanent resident, di ba? And then, diniscuss natin yon kung ano yung mga privileges ng pagiging isang permanent resident. So basically, yung mga karapatan ng isang citizen, meron din yung permanent resident. Ang wala lang sa permanent resident is yung makaboto or tumakbo, kumandidato. And then, pinag-usapan natin kung paano nga ba maging permanent resident. So, isa dyan yung refugee, isa naman yung sponsorship, which is yun yung tatalakayin po natin ngayon. And then, the other one is yung economic class. So, anyway, dun sa tatlo po na yun na ways para maging permanent resident, ang pinaka-topic natin ngayon is yung nga sponsorship. So, bakit may ganitong programa? Gusto lang din naman ng Canada na yung tinatawag na family reunification. So, yun yung main goal ng Canada, to reunify family. Siyempre, ayaw naman ng Canada na mag-isa ka lang dito, walang kamag-anak, especially yung asawa mo. Pwede ba yun na magkahiwalay kayo? Siyempre, as much as possible, kasama mo dapat yung asawa mo at mga anak mo. So, yun yung pinaka-essence nitong family sponsorship.
Why is that important for Canada as a government? Is it more like kasi ang Canada is known for their humanitarian stance, di ba? Yung pag-accept ng mga refugees in war-torn countries. Is that part of their goodwill, or does that serve a more practical purpose for the government?
Kung yung sa refugee yung tanong ninyo, merong obligation ang Canada with regards to that. Kumbaga may international agreements, Geneva Convention 1951. Merong obligation ng Canada na tumanggap ng refugee. Aside from that, meron siya din programa para nga tumanggap na maraming immigration, kasi at some point na-realize nila na itong immigration kailangan, essential ito sa growth ng Canada bilang isang bansa. Kasi nga, as you know, malaking-malaki yung territory ng Canada. Canada is the second largest country, if I'm not mistaken. Ano? And then, ang population. Ngayon nga, ang pinakamalaking population na ng Canada is 42 million. Maliit pa rin compared sa Philippines. So, importante para sa Canada ang immigration. So, and then, yung sa family sponsorship naman, syempre, ang nation is composed of communities, di ba? Sabi nga. And communities are composed of like families, and families are
smaller units.
And smaller unit, yung individual naman. So, ito yung mga building blocks ng nation. So, it's part of nation building kung totoo sa.
I'm thinking kasi practically rin, like if you want, kasi, and correct me if I'm wrong, attorney, when we think of immigration, parang a country wants people to go to their territory, no?
Right.
Because they would also benefit from the population growth. It will spur economic activity.
Right.
Pero also the productivity of one person, kung hindi niya kasama yung pamilya niya, bababa rin yan kasi malungkot,
Exactly.
magkakasakit, that might be a burden in the health system. So I guess if it's good for that one person, that one unit, it's also has a domino effect to the community and the country
Tama
itself,
po yun.
right? It goes with everything else. Alam natin yan, di ba? Yung mga immigrants dito, ang hirap ng walang pamilya.
Exactly.
Kaya nga marami nagtatanong. Kaya nga tayo may pag-uusapan ngayong araw na ito.
Nagulat po kami ni Cherry, kasi ang dami palang interesado dito sa topic na ito, family sponsorship. especially doon sa spousal. So, yun po yung tatalakay natin ngayon. At saka yung mga nagtanong po, sasagutin po namin kayo ngayon.
So yung spousal sponsorship, ano ba ito na padaanan natin the last time, but we'll
Right.
delve into it deeper today. Who are eligible to be sponsored as a partner or spouse?
Correct. So, sa atin po sa Pilipinas, ang alam lang natin, di ba, asawa. Yung legally married na
Ano ba
asawa.
yung pelikula, attorney? Ako legal wife?
Parang ganun. Hindi ko napanood yan, pero narinig ko lang din.
Yeah, ako legal wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but dito kasi sa Canada, meron pang other categories, which is na-mention na natin somehow a few episodes back. So, meron ding common law at saka merong conjugal. So, yan, discuss natin na maigi. Let's start yung sa legal spouse. So, ito yung kasal kayo. May seremonya. At saka, syempre, di ba, bago kayo ikasal, merong marriage license. So, merong formal process bago kayo makapagpakasal, and then nakarehistro ito sa civil registry. Basically, so meron tayong marriage certificate usually na nakaregister sa atin sa PSA, Philippine Statistics Authority ba yun?
Yes.
Something like that.
Oo.
Dating NSO, dun sa mga kasing edad namin ni Cherry. Na alam namin yung NSO. Anyway, so yun po, yun yung legal. So definitely, pwede mo siyang
Okay,
i-sponsor.
that's one. Your legal spouse.
Right.
Okay.
So, and then, pwede ka rin namang mag-sponsor ng tinatawag na common law. So, ito medyo, may alam tayo ng konti bilang Pilipino, pero ito yung parang kalibin mo, sabihin natin gano'n. Kalibin mo siya. Hindi kayo kasal, hindi kayo legally married, pero ang trato nyo sa isa't isa is mag-asawa. For all intents and purposes, mag-asawang turing nyo, yun nga, nakatira kayo sa isang bubong. Isang kwarto actually, natutulog kayo sa isang kama. Yun yung expectation natin. So, yun po yan. Yun yung parang pinaka-basic definition ng common law. You are living together as husband and wife without the benefit of yung formality ng marriage.
So kahit sinabing common law, ito ba yung iba nag-iisip, ito ba, attorney, yung kasal sa huwes? Kasi common law, may ganun parang dahil may law.
Magandang tanong yan. So, i-clarify natin yon. Yung kasal sa huwes, yun yung legal din. Legal din siya. Yun yung nakaregister din sa PSA. Okay? Yung kasi kasal sa, sabihin natin, simbahan, it's more on dun sa religious beliefs nung couple eh. Pero ang pinaka-essence nun, nakaregister kayo sa gobyerno. So, yung
Yun
iba...
ang nire-recognize ng Canada?
Yun yung, yes, ng Canada at even sa Philippines. So, pwede kayong magpakasal sa huwes and legal yon. And same thing kung magpakasal kayo sa simbahan, pero yung kasal nyo sa simbahan, dapat i-register nyo. So, kasi yun yung pinaka-formal na marriage. Eh. So, halimbawa, nagpakasal kayo sa simbahan, pero hindi nyo naman i-register. Hindi formal yon. Walang... hindi valid yon. Kailangan i-rehisto mo pa rin sa Philippine Statistics Authority.
Okay, yun, that's clear. So legal spouse, common law,
And then conjugal.
and then conjugal. Ano naman yung conjugal? What's the difference between legal
Ito yung
spouse
hindi
and
na natin
conjugal?
hindi na tayo masyadong familiar bilang Pilipino, hindi na tayo familiar. So conjugal, ibig lang sabihin nun, merong impediment doon sa pagpapakasal nyo o pagsasama ninyo. Very common to actually sa mga kliyente natin na Pilipino. Sa situation sa atin sa Pilipinas, mas common itong conjugal. Ibig lang din sabihin, so, ang turing nyo sa isa't isa ay mag-asawa din. Yun nga lang, may impediment. Halimbawa, gusto nyo magpakasal. Kaso, hindi naman pwede. Halimbawa, same-sex kayo. Dito sa Canada, pwede. Pero dun sa, kung nasaan kayo, halimbawa nga sa Pilipinas, para sa inyo, wala pang same-sex marriage sa atin. So, hindi pwede. Hindi kayo, kahit gusto nyo, hindi pwede. That's an impediment. And then the other impediment is yung, sabihin natin, immigration impediment. Kasi yung tinuturing yung asawa, halimbawa nasa Pilipinas, hindi siya makapunta sa Canada kasi wala siyang visa. So impediment din. Hindi sila, ibig sabihin, hindi sila pwede magsama. nandito yung sponsor, dito siya nakabase,
Okay.
PR siya dito or citizen siya dito. And then, hindi siya mapuntahan. Paano sila magsasama? Kasi nga, hindi pa approve, wala pa siyang visa yung ini-sponsor doon sa Pilipinas. Pero ang turing yung dalawa, mag-asawa kayo. Something like that. So, yun yung conjugal. Merong impediment. Ang turing nyo sa isa't isa mag-asawa. Siguro mamaya i-discuss natin how do you prove that, things like that. Pero mag-asawang turing nyo, pero hindi kayo makapagpakasal kasi nga hindi pwede. Or hindi din kayo pwede magsama kasi hindi rin nga pwede kasi wala kang ang visa. Something like that. So yun yung conjugal. I know medyo
Oo.
hindi normal
There's a
sa atin.
lot of questions in my mind, but I think I will park that kasi, so ganun pala, no? Ako, I'm just learning now that there's such a thing as, yun pala yung conjugal sa common law. Akala ko common law na rin yun dahil you treat each other or you recognize each other as your partner, pero ang conjugal, ibig sabihin may impediment.
May impediment, yes. So ito mga definitions.
Maraming
Cherry. Yeah.
Paano kung yung mother, yung nanay ko hindi pabor doon? Is that an impediment? I mean, impediment can be...
Well, it depends. It can be anything na yun nga, nag-prevent. Pero you have to justify that dun sa application mo na talagang itong impediment na to, this one prevents you from either getting married or being together, living together as husband and wife.
Okay. We'll understand more the significance of these situations as we go along. So yon. So, sinong pwedeng i-sponsor na partner?
Right.
You said legal spouse, kasal sa huwes at
Right.
nakarehistro sa PSA.
Right.
Okay? At common law
Right.
at saka conjugal.
Right.
O yun. Yung tatlong yon. Okay. So, what about the eligibility requirements to sponsor an applicant?
So, dapat po eligible yung sponsor at yung ini-sponsor. So, simulan po natin dun sa nag-i-sponsor. So, basically, kailangan niya syempre na maging PR siya or citizen or registered Indian, although sa atin hindi man applicable yan. But anyway, for Filipinos, mas applicable yung you're either citizen of Canada or a permanent resident of Canada.
Okay, so that's all you need. Meron bang eligibility in terms of how much you're earning, for example, your
magandang tanong.
age?
Yes po, magandang tanong. So, ang pinaka-requirement kasi po is kaya nga ini-sponsor nyo, kaya nyo silang buhayin pag nandito sila. So, you would be responsible for them. So, dahil dinadala nyo sila dito sa Canada, in-expect ng Canada na hindi yung Canada ang gagastos para sa kanila. Hindi Canada ang bubuhay or may responsibility para buhayin sila. So, yung sponsor ang merong obligation nun. Kaya usually meron din undertaking na pinipirmahan yung sponsor. So, but basically, kung ang ini-sponsor mo, asawa or mga anak, mababa lang yung threshold. So, walang set amount. Usually, kung meron kang trabaho, okay na yun eh. Kailangan mo lang mabigyan ng pabahay, pagkain, at saka damit yung ini-sponsor mo.
So parang ikaw na lang yung hihingan ng proof na may trabaho ka, may bahay
Something
ka.
like that,
Hindi,
yes.
You don't need to own the house. You just
You don't need to own a house.
to
You can
be
rent.
living
Basta
in
meron kang, syempre, space,
shelter.
sarili mong space na doon kayo nakatira. So, yun po. So, may mga technicalities dyan na hindi na natin i-discuss ng detalye. Pero ang isang example niyan is dapat hindi ikaw yung sponsor, hindi ka humihingi ng social assistance sa government. Diba? Kasi kung ikaw mismo humingi ka ng social assistance sa government, tapos mag-sponsor ka pa, how does it work? Ikaw nga hindi mo hindi mo masustento ang sarili mo. Humingi ka ng social assistance sa government. Magdadala ka pa ng tao na you would be supposedly you would be responsible for them. How can it work? So, diba? Parang
Logically, that makes sense
Right.
if you're the Canadian government. But that's very good to point out. Kasi halimbawa, hindi unusual, minsan naka-disability pension tayo. Or minsan temporary lang naman, attorney.
temporary is okay.
Temporary is okay.
Right. At saka yung
okay.
EI, just some technical discussions.
pwede
Yung
yun.
EI, okay lang yun. Halimbawa, natanggal kayo sa trabaho momentarily. EI pala doon sa mga hindi nakakalam. Employment insurance dito po sa Canada kasi pag natanggal kayo sa trabaho, makakatanggap kayo ng sweldo or at least a percentage noong dati yung kinikita habang kayo ay naghahanap ng trabaho. So we call that EI or employment insurance. Yun, okay lang yun.
Okay. So ano yung when you're really relying on Canada for pag na under welfare, ganon?
Something
Meron
like
bang
that.
ganon
Yes,
dito?
welfare. Halimbawa, yung nabanggit natin, EI, may limit din kasi yun eh. So, hindi naman yun forever. Meron lang certain months na you would be receiving that employment insurance. Pero pag naglagpas na doon, wala na. Wala ka ng paghuhugutan. So, yun, usually, punta ka na sa government. Kasi paano mo susustento yung sarili mo. So, yun, kung umabot ka sa ganong punto,
Mahirap
baka hindi ka na ma-approve. Kasi yun nga, yung sarili mo, hindi mo ma-sustentuhan. Ngayon, mag-sponsor ka pa. So, medyo problematic yun.
Right. So let's go to the situation on whether the one you will sponsor, your partner, is inside Canada or outside Canada. What are the difference in the processes? Is there an advantage kung nandito na sa loob ng Canada yung gusto mo i-sponsor? Ikaw PR o ikaw citizen, siya hindi? O better ba kung nasa loob? May advantages and disadvantages yung nasa Pilipinas pa siya, for example, outside of Canada.
Right. So, I would say, mas may advantage yung nandito na. Ang main advantage po niyan is pwede sila mabigyan ng tinatawag na open work permit. So, pwede silang magtrabaho habang naghihintay sila ng finalization ng permanent residency application. So, yun yung nandito na. Kung nasa labas kayo, you have to wait until ma-finalize yun before you can come to Canada and work. So, yun po yung, I would say, main advantage ng nandito na yung ini-sponsoran kasi pwede sila magkaroon ng tinatawag na open work permit.
But in terms of the process, mas mabilis ba yung nandito sa loob? May ganung advantage ba?
Depende. Ang difference lang in terms of processing, yung inland po kasi na tinatawag, so yung applicant nandito na sa Canada, yung Canadian office yung magpa-process nun. Pag outland, doon sa Pilipinas, yung embassy natin doon.
So,
Canadian
depende
embassy.
na sa backlog nila yun.
So, depende sa...
It becomes a technicality.
Yeah, exactly. Yung load na tinatawag. So, kasi yung dito sa Canada, ang pinaprocess nila lahat ng inland. Yeah. So, yung sa Pilipinas naman, lahat ng kung ano yung load nung sa Pilipinas. By the way, sa embassy natin sa Pilipinas, marami tayong pinaprocess doon, hindi lang sa Philippines. I think yung mga ibang bansa na malapit sa atin sa Asia Pacific, doon din ang processing center. So malaki po ang load.
So parang doon sila nag-base sa
parang
atin
ganon,
sa
kasi
Pilipinas?
Since maraming Pilipino na pupunta dito, so parang naging hub na siya, processing hub, yung Canadian Embassy natin. So but anyway, depende po yung sa load. In terms of processing time, I would say hindi masyadong nagkakaiba. Pero if you're wondering gaano kabilis, yung parang sabihin natin standard processing time is about a year. But in some cases, a few months lang po na-approve siya. So we have certain cases like that na in just a few months na-approve na po yung permanent residency application.
So hindi imposibleng mas mabilis than 1 year. Okay, let's go to the application process itself. Now, give us an idea on the documentations that are needed to sponsor a spouse or a partner.
So, I would say yung mga basic information, meron naman yung form that you just have to fill it out and some proof nga, of course, ng relationship. As we mentioned earlier, halimbawa, yung marriage certificate, syempre you have to submit that, birth certificates, things like that. And ang pinaka-importante po nito, yung kailangan nyo i-prove na genuine yung relationship. So we cannot, we cannot set this aside. Ibig sabihin, hindi porke kasal nga kayo and then you have all the proof, you have the marriage certificate and all, yun na yun. Kasi si officer, gusto niyang tingnan kung genuine nga ba o baka naman kasal-kasalan lang ito para lang for, immigration purpose. So it's important na ipakita niyo sa officer na yung relationship ninyo is genuine and it's not mainly for immigration purpose. So kailangan yung ipakita yung history ng relationship nyo. So like, paano kayo nagkakilala? You start with that, right? And then, paano nag-develop yung relationship nyo from magkakilala lang and then magkaibigan and then magkaibigan. So parang may kwento yan, may love story yan. Papakita nyo yun
Is
sa officer.
that in a form of an essay. I know that you can submit photos, right? Photos or documentations of people who know you.
Right, exactly.
But is there a qualification kasi pwedeng galing sa close friend mo? You could have manipulated that kasi kakilala mo. May ganung ano ba yung, may ganung sinascan ba yung immigration officers when they look
definitely, lahat yan. So anyway, lahat ng pwede nyo isubmit, pwede naman. So, the more the better. Pero somehow, syempre, ililimit nyo din. We don't want the officers to be overwhelmed with so many evidence.
It can also backfire, no? Pag marami kang nilalagay.
Kasi syempre si officer busy din siya. Kailangan mag-decide siya within a specific period din eh. So, kung bibigyan mo siya ng tunay-tuneladang pictures,
bibigyan mo ng homework.
it can be problematic. Pero, so yun po, yeah, as you mentioned, pwedeng mag-submit or definitely kailangan mag-submit ng mga photos to prove kailan kayo nagkakilala, paano nag-develop yung relationship ninyo. And then yung relationship nyo dapat hindi siya tago, di ba? Hindi siya dapat secret relationship. So ang expected natin is alam siya ng mga yun naka-close mo. Close friends at saka close relatives, yung immediate family mo. Dapat alam nila yon, di ba? So on one hand, yes, we know pwedeng i-manipulate. Pero on the other hand, tama naman, sila dapat yung nakakaalam dun sa relationship nyo. Siyempre, yung malalapit sa iyo, mga close friends mo at saka close relatives, sila dapat yung nakakaalam. So, pwede sila magbigay ng support letter na kilala nila kayo and then alam nila na talagang couple kayo, things like that. So,
ilang taon o buwan, ano yung duration na dapat kayong naging isang couple bago kayo ma-consider as a partner, as someone you can sponsor?
So, yung kung married kayo, walang specific period actually. Pero yung kung kayo ay common law or conjugal, it has to be at least 1 year. So yung relationship nyo bilang live-in partners, common law partner or conjugal partner, it has to be at least 1 year. Kung married kayo, walang ganong requirement. So right away, pag nagpakasal kayo, pwede na kayong mag-apply. So kung mabilisan yung relationship nyo, let's say a few weeks, pwede naman yun eh. Pero of course nga, you have to convince the officer na genuine talaga somehow yung relationship nyo na yun. Although mabilis, pero genuine. So yun lang po yun.
So whether nagpakasal kayo sa Pilipinas or sa Canada or any part of the world, ganun pa rin ang walang pag marriage, pag legal spouse, walang length of time kayo.
Walang specific requirement in terms of length. Okay.
So and they recognize wedding in every part of the world. Kasi kahit nga hindi kayo kasal, di ba?
Right.
So,
basta lang po, merong mga technical considerations din dyan. For us, ang general rule is pag valid doon sa kung saan kayo kinasal, valid din sa Canada. Kung tatanggapin.
Kahit sa Las Vegas, si Elvis Presley nagkasal.
So meron ding mga specific na hindi pwede. Halimbawa, sabihin natin yung polygamous marriage nga. So, halimbawa, may isang country na inaalaw yon. I don't know kung meron. I'm just giving an example. Hindi pwede yan sa Canada. So, kahit na yung country na yun inaalaw yung ganong polygamous marriage, hindi pwede yan sa Canada. Hindi i-recognize ng Canada yon. Another example, ito na lang, remote. Yung mga remote marriage. I think, yes, baka sa Las Vegas meron or maybe some other jurisdictions, inaalaw nila yung remote marriage. As far as I know, sa Canada...
What is that? Yung got married through Zoom, for example?
Parang ganun
ba yun?
Diba? Lalo ngayon, medyo relevant yan kasi after COVID, medyo na tayo sa Zoom. Parang normal na yung Zoom sa atin.
May virtual wedding na rin nga siguro. No?
As far as I know, hindi nire-recognize ng Canada yung ganong marriage. So you have to be in person. So may mga certain marriage na pwedeng hindi i-recognize ng Canada even if kung saan kayo nagpakasal is nire-recognize yung marriage na yun. So, pero ano lang yan, I would say rare. Most of the time, nire-recognize naman ng Canada yung marriage nyo. Like say, sa Philippines kayo nagpakasal or sa Hong Kong or saan mang country. Usually, pwede yan.
Okay. Can you give us an idea, attorney, on the steps in the application process for a spousal or a partner sponsorship?
Basically, you gather all your punta kayo dun sa Canada website. Yun lang. So, yun yung first step. Kasi even as lawyers, we go there kasi nga it can change, it can always change. So every time you apply, you have to check it kasi para ma-ensure na yung latest yung information na meron kayo. And then meron checklist yon. Download nyo yung checklist, kumpletuhin nyo yung checklist. Ganun lang siya actually kasimple. And then along the way, of course, if you have questions, ang mga resources nyo, yan, magtanong kayo sa amin dito siguro. Or may mga forums dyan. Or pwede rin kayong mag-hire, syempre, ng like immigration consultant or immigration lawyer if you have some questions. Pero basically, yeah, you just have to get the checklist, complete that, and submit. So, ganun lang siya.
So just like the other applications, this can be a DIY. It depends
Definitely.
on your preference at saka yung
Preference.
confidence level ninyo on your application
Exactly.
and what you're risking.
Right.
Sometimes some people think masyadong risky to para
Right.
gawin ko on my own.
Right.
So there's a checklist and then just sometimes parang it sounds straightforward na, yan, may checklist. Pero
Yeah.
along the way, maraming tanong yan.
Totoo
Maraming
yan.
tanong,
Totoo
oo.
yan.
Ano usually dun sa checklist, attorney, yung marami silang tanong? Or yung medyo maraming interpretasyon?
So yun nga, like, ano yung kailangan i-submit? Like, yun yung natatanggap namin na questions. Madali. Pwede na ba to? Pwede na ba to? So yung mga gano'n. So yung part na yon, I would suggest na you get siguro professional advice kasi medyo mahirap na i-DIY yon eh. Or especially kung meron kayong mga certain issues. Kasi, halimbawa din ito sa atin sa mga Pilipino, like hiwalay ka na, di ba, sa Pilipinas. Pero sa atin kasi walang divorce eh. And then kung magpapalegally separated ka, punta ka pa sa court, mahirap, di ba? So, ang status mo talaga is married, di ba? I mean, under Philippine context, married ka talaga. Kahit na 10 taon na kayong hiwalay, married pa rin kayo. And then paano kung meron ka ng
Bagong kinakasama.
yun
May
nga.
ganyang mga tanong
Yeah,
talaga,
actually,
attorney. Oo.
meron tayong mga ganon. So may kinakasama ka na or sabihin natin conjugal kayo as we mentioned earlier. Hindi kayo nagsasama pero ang tingin nyo sa isa't isa is kayo yung mag-asawa, nagpapadalahan kayo ng mga remittance, so yan, kailangan yan. Financial support sa isa't isa. Padala kayo ng pictures, araw-araw kayo nag-usap. So parang yun nga, all intents and purposes kayo yung mag-asawa eh. Pero hindi kayo kasal kasi may asawa kayo. Or yung partner mo, baka may asawa din siya. Na hindi rin sila. So something like that. Ang tanong, pwede ba yun? Pwede yun. Pwede yun. So may mga tanong sa atin ganon. Pwede yun. So,
Good
titingnan
news
kasi
yan
natin.
sa maraming mga
Yeah, titingnan kasi
nagtatanong. So,
natin yan
pwede.
under Canadian context, under
Okay.
Canadian law, hindi Philippine law. Kasi siyempre, nag-apply sila
so
under Canada na.
right.
So, yun ang susundin natin. Canadian law, Canadian context.
And as far as Canada is concerned, may divorce kasi dito.
Exactly.
So parang they consider your past relationship, tama ba ako? As parang
Tama po yan. One more thing, actually, it's not just divorce, pero yung separation kasi, yung status, yung legal status na separated na kayo, dito sa Canada, you don't need to go to like to court or even sa lawyer. Hindi mo kailangang gumawa ng anything, hindi mo kailangan mag statutory declaration or affidavit or whatever. As long as hiwalay na kayo, yun na ang status nyo. Ganun kasimple. Wala nang hirapan.
ganon,
The
attorney.
moment na
So,
umalis ka sa
okay.
bahay at ang intention mo is makipaghiwalay na at sinabi mo sa spouse mo na ayoko na, hiwalay na tayo, that's it. It starts there. Wala nang...
Paano kung para sa akin, hiwalay na tayo, pero para dun sa partner ko, hindi pa. Alam, minsan,
Of course.
one-way decision yan,
I know,
di ba?
yeah,
There's a lot
bitter
of
yung isa.
complications in
Parang
relationship.
actually nangyari yan yun nga sa atin under Philippine context kasi as far as we know nga, yeah, married pa rin tayo, di ba? Sa Philippines ganun talaga. But anyway, yun under Canadian context,
Oo.
separate, hindi, kahit ayaw nung isa, kung ikaw mismo ayaw mo na,
Oo.
separated na kayo.
Separated na kayo. They don't require a certain duration na hindi na kayo natutulog sa isang
Yeah.
bahay, for
Yeah.
example.
Just like one day, ayaw mo na. Yun na yun. It starts with
okay,
it. Pero, we know yung mga relationship, di ba, complicated yan. Minsan,
Babalik.
away bate.
Oo.
One day, paglabas, balik na naman. O tayo na ulit. So, may mga, it complicates things. Siguro pag ganyan, kailangan nyo nang kumausap ng lawyer. Pero, pwedeng mangyari na separated kayo and then kabalikan kayo, di, hindi na naman kayo separated, married na naman kayo.
Oo.
Di ba? And then nag-separate na naman kayo. Di separated kayo ulit. Pwede yan.
So the
It can
Canada
get-
just
it can
follows
get
what is your
complicated.
relationship as far as you're concerned. We'll just give way. We'll just
Sige po.
greet Manibelang Pinoy. Good morning, Attorney and Ma'am Cherry. So good morning, baka nasa Pilipinas si Manibelang Pinoy. It's
Good
gonna
morning.
be, 2:30 a.m. in the Philippines if they're watching us from there. Let us know also where you're watching from para alam natin kung saan tayo nakakaabot. Si RC Me, eto may question na siya, attorney. Magandang tanghali po, Filipino citizen po. Kasal sa Pilipinas, PR na po dito sa Canada, pero matagal nang hiwalay.
Yeah.
Pwede po ba akong magpa-divorce dito sa Canada since walang divorce sa atin? So kasal siya sa Pilipinas, PR siya dito, matagal na siyang hiwalay. I suppose, I don't know if the partner is here or the spouse is here or in the Philippines. Pero pwede ba daw siya magpa-divorce dito sa Canada?
Pwede po. Pwede po. So ang requirement lang, just so you know, dapat resident kayo ng Canada for at least 1 year. Yun lang naman ang requirement actually. And then kahit hindi nyo tinanong, pero baka interested kayong malaman, you don't need to be like a citizen or a permanent resident. Kahit na visitor lang kayo dito sa Canada. But for as long as naka 1 year na kayo dito, yung residency ang tinatanong dito eh. Kung naka 1 year na kayo dito sa Canada, yes, pwede kayo mag-apply for divorce.
Sandali, attorney, bago yun.
Yeah.
I'm absorbing that. So, if you're married in the Philippines and nandito ka sa Canada, pwede mong ipa-divorce yung marriage mo sa Pilipinas
Yes.
from here?
Yes. Medyo tumatawid na tayo sa, medyo complicated na.
Oo, napupunta na tayo sa divorce law. Okay.
We are, we are discussing under Canadian law, Canadian context. So, maaari kayong magpa-divorce dito at pag na-divorce kayo dito, ang tingin sa inyo ng Canada is divorce kayo. But it doesn't mean na i-recognize yun
Sa Pilipinas.
ng Pilipinas. So,
Oo.
be careful with that.
Right.
Kasi magkaibang bansa yung pinag-uusapan natin and hindi naman kailangan na nag-agree sila eh. Hindi naman sila talaga nag-uusap tungkol dyan. Hindi naman porque dinivorce siya nung isang country, i-recognize siya nung isa. So, it can lead to some complications. So, be a little bit, hindi lang a little bit, be careful when interpreting these things.
Oo. So, make sure, siguraduhin nyo based on your own circumstance, no, na ganun talaga. But what attorney saying nga is, as far as Canada is concerned, yung kanilang paningin dyan, since may divorce sila dito, pwede kang makipaghiwalay dun sa asawa mo. But do you need their approval? Do you need their side of it also?
We get that question all the time. So, hindi kailangan ng approval. Hindi kailangan mag-agree yung other party dun sa gusto mong divorce. Usually po, ang grounds lang yan is separated na kayo for at least 1 year. Meron pang 2 grounds, pero hindi siya masyadong ginagamit, yung adultery or abuse. Hindi kasi practical. So, we'll just concentrate on the most commonly used ground, yung separated na kayo for at least 1 year. Kasi madali lang yun eh. 1 year, mabilis lang yun eh. So, pag separated na kayo for at least 1 year, yun na yung ground nyo for divorce. And it doesn't matter, mag-agree man yung kabila o hindi. It doesn't change anything.
So, magiging useful yan, attorney, kung gusto nilang magpakasal dito sa Canada.
Definitely.
Tapos, meron silang partner sa Pilipinas na hindi na naman sila, nahiwalay na naman sila, either in their
Right.
eyes, no? At hindi kailangan pumayag yung partner mo sa Philippines na hiwalay na kayo kung para sa'yo, ayaw mo na dun sa relationship at may gusto ka ditong. That's the practical reason I'm seeing why they'd wanna divorce it. Kasi
Exactly.
may gusto silang pakasalan dito, 'di ba? Is there any other practical reason why you want to divorce your
Madami.
okay.
Yung iba, ayaw na nila yung apelyido ng asawa nila. Something like that. Just as simple as that.
Okay. Okay.
And then they don't want to have anything to do with the other spouse.
Gusto na nilang tapusin.
Parang
Kahit hindi
gusto na
naman sila
nilang,
mag-aasawa dito.
Gusto na nilang lagyan ng period yung relationship niya doon. So,
Oo.
so yun po yun.
Okay. Medyo sumasanga ng konti. Kasi nga,
Yeah, pero it's
there's
relevant.
so many
It's
complications.
relevant. Tama po yan. Kasama
Relationships
kasi yan.
are complicated.
Right.
Kaya nga yan ang status ng iba, di ba? It's complicated.
It's complicated.
Oo. So, Yun, pwede, yun yung question ni RC Me.
Right.
Ibig sabihin, yung sagot sa kanya, matagal nang hiwalay, pwede siya magpa-divorce sa Canada? Pwede.
Pwedeng,
Yun ang
pwede.
sagot doon. Manibelang Pinoy is watching from Winnipeg daw. Kaya good morning.
Good
okay,
morning po.
we appreciate it.
Parang
He was
nanood
also
din siya last
watching
time, parang familiar
the
siya.
other time. Oo. Yung iba naman hindi live, nakakapanood. So, hello na rin sa inyo even if, you're watching us from delayed, sanay ako delayed telecast. Puro social media na kayo. Delayed streaming on your social media channels. Okay. So let's go on to our next topic, yung itong proving a genuine relationship.
Yeah.
So as you said kanina, nabanggit mo kanina, attorney, yung mga remittances.
Yeah.
That's part of the proof, no?
Right.
Nagpapadala kayo sa isa't isa. Okay, what other proof can you show?
Okay. So, first of all, yung mga proof po na babanggitin ko, at saka binanggit din actually ito sa guide ng Government of Canada mismo. Ano lang ito? Examples. So, samples lang ito. It doesn't mean na you have to submit them or hindi kayo pwede mag-submit ng wala
Iba.
doon sa listahan. It can be anything. Yun nga. It's up to you what you think are relevant doon sa pag-prove nyo na genuine yung relationship. Pero ito kasing sa listahan, ito yung sabi natin common or somehow, ito yung in-expect natin. Yeah, as you mentioned, for example, remittances. So, kung ang ini-sponsor nyo nasa Pilipinas, and kayo nandito, so it's parang understandable or expected na ikaw yung magpapadala ng pera doon sa Pilipinas. Kasi usually, mas malaking kita mo dito sa Canada compared doon sa asawa mo or kinakasama mo na nandun sa Pilipinas. So, ang expectation, syempre, kung ang turing nyo sa isa't isa is mag-asawa nga, nagsusuportahan kayo, di ba? Financially, di ba? You support each other and it so happens na ikaw yung mas nakakaangat. Nandito ka sa Canada, mas malaki kita. Ikaw dapat yung magpapadala. So anyway, kung mas mayaman yung ini-sponsora mo dun sa Pilipinas at siya pwede din yun. But we don't see
Not
that.
the
But anyway,
usual.
pwede rin yun. So the thing is, ang expectation natin
May
is
suportahan
nagsusuportahan
kayo
kayo
sa isa't isa.
financially.
Oo.
Yeah. So hindi naman din kailangan na like regular, monthly, or kung regular, mas maganda. Pero kung paminsan-minsan lang, okay din yun. Halimbawa, meron kayong biniling bahay. So one time ka lang nagpadala, malaki. Pero hindi ka nagpapadala man, pwede rin yun. And then, that brings us to the other point actually. So meron kayong kung meron kayong joint assets, that can serve as evidence.
Yeah.
Especially kung may bahay kayo na pareho kayo nasa titulo, joint assets ninyo. Okay yun.
That's a strong one, right?
That's a strong one. So, ibig sabihin talagang kayo, interdependent, yun ang tawag natin doon. Interdependent.
Pero sa Pilipinas, attorney, pwede ba kayong mag-joint name sa asset kung hindi kayo kasal?
Pwede naman.
Pwede rin.
oo.
Okay.
And then, speaking of assets, any other assets can do, like sasakyan, halimbawa, or one important example is yung life insurance. So kung yung buhay mo, pag nawala ka, yung proceeds ng insurance mo, binigay mo doon sa
Kumbaga
spouse
siya
mo.
yung beneficiary.
Siya yung beneficiary or vice versa. Pwede yon. So ibig sabihin talaga importante siya sa'yo, di ba? Kasi siya yung nasa isip mo. Pag namatay ka, siya yung nasa isip mo eh. Siya yung ayaw mong malagay sa alanganin. So
Siya yung nasa wallpaper ng
siya yung
telepono.
unang-unang mong nasa isip pag ikaw namatay. Anyway, so yun, life insurance, ano pa ba ang sample? Remittances.
May nanonood
joint
sa atin
accounts.
from Taiwan, ha? Si Angel 70,
Ano bang
watching from
umaga
Taiwan.
din doon. So magandang umaga, Angel.
And Jason Gokong is watching naman from BC, from Richmond, BC.
Mas late naman doon.
Okay, so joint account, what else?
Samples,
Photos.
yeah. Photos, definitely. Social media. Yeah.
Remittances.
We're in the age of social media. So kung mayroon kang social media account, mga post nyo doon, di ba? Pwede nyo i-share yon. Messages nyo sa Messenger, for example. Pili lang kayo ng sa tingin nyo magandang i-submit. And then, yun, masasubmit nyo yung gano'n. Letters, kung susulat pa kayo ng yung or typical letters, postcards, or any other gifts na, kasi syempre pag yun nga, mag-asawa kayo, somehow, birthdays, Christmas, sineselebrate natin yan, anniversaries, kung meron kayong mga regalo sa isa't isa during birthdays, Christmas, anniversaries. Yun, pakita nyo.
Anong papakita mo yung resibo nung ano mo?
Resibo or yung item mismo, kahit photo lang naman, of course. Photo or like pinost mo, binigyan niya ako na for my birthday, ito yung binigyan niya sa akin, something like that. Okay yun.
So yung mga, what kind of relationships, like what, kasi meron iba talagang pasok na pasok eh. Kung halimbawang, yan, you have a joint account that's strong, right?
Right.
You have joint assets, yan. Ano yung mga relationships na medyo, or yung common applications that are questioned or denied, for example, na parang kailangan mas stronger yung kailangan yung ipakita. Like for
Ayan,
example,
magandang tanong.
malaki yung age gap, halimbawa. May red flag ba yan sa mga
Magandang tanong. Pero
immigration
before I
officers?
answer that, mayroon lang ako naalala na kailangang isama natin kasi important. Anak. Yeah, hindi pa natin
kung may
nabanggit.
anak kayo,
Kung may anak kayo, di syempre yun yung isa sa pinakamagandang
pinakamalakas.
evidence, di ba? Na genuine yung relationship nyo kasi may anak kayo eh. So kung may anak kayo, evidence din yan.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
anyway, having said that, ano nga ba yung tanong ulit?
Yung halimbawang malaking age gap, is
Age
that
gap,
a red
okay.
flag or may
Right.
other red flags ba yung immigration officer?
Possibly. So, depende na yan sa immigration officer. Ano ba natin ito? Ito. May naisip ako kasi ang standard, okay, yung nga, marriage-like relationship. So, we should distinguish that from boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Kasi yung iba, feeling nila dahil tayo, di ba? Tayo. Yun na ba yun? Pwede na yun? Pwede na i-sponsor? Depende. Yun nga. So kung ang level nun is para bang boyfriend-girlfriend, oo nga, kayo nga, pero boyfriend-girlfriend lang ang level ba? Hindi yun pwede. Hindi yun papasa. So ang gusto makita ng officer is yung mas mataas doon. Husband and wife type of relationship. Marriage-like relationship. Not just like boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Magkaiba yun. Wala pong, yun nga eh, it's a very thin line eh. Kaya nga din, medyo sabihin natin subjective siya.
Oo.
Depende na yan sa officer. Pero it's up to you as the applicant to convince the officer na hindi kami boyfriend-girlfriend lang. Mag-asawa kami. Yun nga, kaya as I mentioned kanina, kung may anak kayo, di ba? Although minsan, kahit boyfriend-girlfriend, may anak sila, pero parang boyfriend-girlfriend pa rin ang relationship. So anyway, relationships, as you said, Cherry, can be very complicated. So, hindi na
Kaya
natin...
usually nga sa spousal sponsorship, ito yung, or partnership, dito nanghihingi ng advice sa immigration lawyer or immigration consultant. Kasi, especially because it's very different from the Philippine perspective, what a partner is, and from the Canadian perspective, what a partner is, di ba? Kaya,
Tama po yan.
yun yung mga kailangan mong maintindihan eh. They're considering it from a Canadian perspective. So
Right.
you have to understand what constitutes as a legal partnership here in Canada. Kasi pag pasok yan dito, yun. Wala
Right.
silang pakialam sa kung ano yung setup nyo sa Philippines. But it's your own, you have to watch out for yourself kasi kung meron kayong kinukonsidera na Philippine considerations naman, baka may mga
Right.
ari-arian kayo doon, baka may anak kayo doon. That's another story in itself, hindi ba? I just want to greet attorney si Josie Tabela at saka si Jin who are watching us. Josie Tabela is watching from Papua New Guinea.
Wow.
Oh, diba? But and she's also asking how can I contact or email the lawyer po and yung Facebook niya. So we're going to put the contact details of JCA Lono,
Sige
attorney.
po, abangan nyo lang po mamaya. I-flash po namin yan.
Yeah,
yung
we're going to
information.
put that there. The email and the phone number, lagay natin. Kasi nga yung iba, very specific yung kanilang mga concerns, no? Okay, so large age gaps or halimbawa hindi kayo palaging nag-uusap,
Yeah.
okay pa rin. There are other ways
Nangyayari
to
po
prove
yan.
pa rin.
So mayroon actually kami mga clients na ganyan. Pero kung sa-substantiate nyo naman, ma-explain nyo ng mabuti, pwede pa din.
Let's go, attorney, to the interview process. Kasi marami dito natatakot pagdating sa
I know.
interview or ito yung kailangan paghandaan.
Right.
Sigurado ba daw na may interview or paano yung sistema ng interview at ano
So,
kailangan paghandaan?
Hindi po lahat ini-interview. It's up to the officer din nga po. Kasi it's up to them how they want to conduct their investigation. So, nasa sa kanila yon kung mag-spend ba sila ng time for interview or not. From our experience po, hindi naman lahat, bihira nga actually yung ini-interview. Usually, pag maayos naman yung submissions nyo, yung application nyo, convinced na si officer, bakit pa mag-i-interview? So, most of the time, hindi na nire-require yun. But sometimes, kung medyo may konting duda si officer, na sa tingin niya ma-resolve yung duda na yon by conducting that interview, so they would invite. So, at anyway, wag po nating katakutan. Yung interview is just part of the process. Kailangan nyo lang paghandaan yon and maging, maging truthful, makatotohanan dun sa pagsagot. And siguro, it can help na get some counseling or advice muna from a lawyer siguro para at least ready kayo doon sa interview. But anyway, gusto lang nilang malaman, it all boils down doon sa yung genuineness nung
That would be the
relationship.
only reason why
That's
they would need an
That's the
interview,
only reason,
right?
yes. Especially doon sa mga scenarios nga po na, as you mentioned, like malaking age gap, mga ganon, siguro. May konting red flag, sabi natin ganon. Or doon sa mga nagpakasal, pero masyadong mabilis yung pangyayari, nagkakilala kayo 2 weeks lang, tapos napakasal kayo agad, di ba? Parang medyo, although sabi ko nga, wala namang specific period, pero medyo kaduda-duda ng konti. Sige, interview. Pwede yun, yung mga ganong klaseng situation, pwede yung interviewin.
May instances ba, attorney, na biglang nade-deny? Yung hindi na sila in-interview, tapos na-deny sila?
Most of the time po, mayroon yan tinatawag na procedural fairness letter. We call it PFL. So si Canada, meron siyang obligation na at least before niya i-deny, sasabihin niya muna sa'yo at bibigyan kanya ng pagkakataon na i-clarify yon kung ano man yung doubt ni officer. Bibigyan niya kayo ng pagkakataon para i-explain. So we call that procedural fairness letter. Another thing na I would advise na if you ever get that, wag nyo na siyang i-DIY. Especially nga kasi malaki yung at stake. Get at least a consultation man lang. Get a consultation para maintindihan nyo ano ba yung concern ni officer and how would you address that. So, yun po. Hindi, bihira yung dinideny niya na like right away. Kasi pwede siyang i-apila. Ayaw din ni officer na i-apila siya. So, magpapadala muna siya ng procedural fairness letter.
And how does the interview happen, attorney? Usually, magkasama ba kayo sa isang interview kahit na, pareho kayo nandito sa Canada?
Right.
Do they call both of you and are you both in one room?
Right.
I heard something before, like way back, magkahiwalay daw.
Right.
And then you have to be parang
Right.
mo interrogation for
tama po
Kasi,
yan.
or yun nga, magkasama ba kayo o magkahiwalay kayo pag in-interview
So
kayo?
it's up to the officer, definitely. Pero most of the time nga magkahiwalay. Kasi may reason for that. Kasi nga, pwede kayo magkuntsabahan, di ba? Like, anong favorite mo na pagkain? Adobo So anyway.
Parang game
So pwede
show.
kayo magkuntsabahan. So si officer, as much as possible, nililimit niya yung mga ganong possibilities. So hinihiwalay kayo para hindi kayo magsignalan ng sa isa't isa para kung ano yung sagot, di ba? So we can expect na hiwalay sila para hindi sila magtulungan sa kung anumang sagot.
Okay. What are the risks of falling into like providing false or misleading information?
Okay, that's a big risk. If you ever provide misleading information na pwedeng mag-cause doon sa officer na magkamali doon sa decision niya, pwede kayong maban for 5 years. Yun ang pinaka result noong misleading information na binigay niyo. So be very careful. Nakalagay naman doon, dun sa application niyo, maraming reminders na you should always be truthful, etc. etc. So make sure lang po na you'll be honest when you fill out those forms.
Are there any cases na the officer found out or the immigration department found out that it was a fraudulent marriage, for example, made para maging PR din yung isang tao? For example, is it possible that in hindsight, biglang, a few years after, Kala mo, you got away with it na, di ba? Tapos biglang a few years after they found out, is there such a way?
I haven't heard
instances?
something like that pa naman. Pero it's plausible. Possibly, nangyari na yon, di ko lang alam. It can happen. In those cases, pwedeng ma-revoke yung Greenland na permanent residency. Pwedeng ma-revoke yon. And then, plus may ban pa nga, like 5 year
Right.
ban. So, medyo
So kahit
harsh
yung
ang-
nag-sponsor mismo, pwedeng ma-revoke yung PR
Yung
mo.
nag-sponsor mismo, hindi naman. Pero baka hindi na siya pwedeng mag-sponsor. So, dun sa eligibility ng sponsor, makaka-apekto yun. So, next time,
Right.
hindi ka na pwedeng mag-sponsor kasi ito, may record ka. Something
So
like
it's a big risk. Just because this is reality also, attorney, no? Anong mabibigay mong advice kung halimbawa? Kasi marami, especially now na naghihigpit yung Canada, and they're thinking of ways on how to stay here legally.
Yeah.
What if someone comes up to them and offers them, oh, pwede kita ipakasal? Whether they're Filipino or maybe other ethnicities, na sabihin, you just pay 10,000 Canadian dollars and we can arrange a marriage.
may mga ganyan, racket. Nangyayari talaga yan. And that's the reason actually, kaya nga rin si officer, mahigpit siya doon sa pag-scrutinize kung genuine nga ba yung relationship or hindi. That's the very reason kasi maraming nagpe-fake. And hindi rin natin maiiwasan yung ganun eh. Kasi syempre, there's money to be earned or gained, di ba? So maraming, sabihin natin sindikato na yun ang ginagawa. And then, meron naman din syempre na willing sa ganun na magbayad. Actually, 10,000 maliit yun eh.
Ganun ba? Ano naman?
Ang going rate siguro ngayon, baka 20, 30 o 40,000. Ganyan na para syempre, malaki ang value kasi nung PR eh, di ba? Makapagtrabaho
Correct.
ka. You can stay in Canada indefinitely. You get so many other benefits, health benefits, education, etc. So malaki yung value. So maraming kumakagat doon, unfortunately. So, but anyway, yung kung magpapakasal din lang kayo, seryosohin nyo na siguro. Gawin nyo ng genuine. Para at least, wala kayong mini-mislead, wala kayong pinipeke, di ba? Totohanin nyo na. And I would actually, siguro suggest or recommend that na if you, since sponsorship naman din na pinag-uusapan natin, if you think that's your pathway here to Canada, then consider that. Why not? Hanap kayo ng PR or citizen na pwede
Sabagay,
niyong
kung
mapangasawa.
single naman kayo or
yun nga, yeah, exactly.
available,
Kung single
you don't
naman
have
kayo,
to-
you're available, you can do that. Basta, yun nga, siguraduhin nyo lang na genuine yung relationship. And, yun nga, naging partner niyo siya, it's not just for immigrant. Mahal niyo naman talaga siya. So, just to be fair din dun sa partner niyo, di ba?
Pwede naman daw turuan ang pusong magmahal.
Exactly,
attorney.
di ba?
Okay, let's give way to some questions from the past episodes. Yung iba naulit na or nasagot na, but let's go through it. Si RJ Jr., citizen daw siya ng Vancouver. Ina-apply ko po ang anak ko para madala ko dito. Approved po siya at that time. Yung anak niya, underage kasi siya doon.
Yeah.
Pero hindi daw nag-cooperate, pati yung ex-girlfriend niya. Ngayon, nasa edad na yung anak ko, may paraan po ba para madala ko siya dito maliban sa visitor or tourist?
Yeah, very common scenario po ito. So kung yung anak niyo po sa nasa wastong gulang, hindi niya na kailangan ng consent actually noong other parent, ng mother basically. So pwede na siyang pumunta dito, sponsoran niyo lang siya. Pwede na kasi siya mag-decide on his own or her own. I don't know kung anong gender. So yun po, pwede siyang makapunta dito, hindi niya na kasi kailangan ng consent.
Pero pwede niyang i-sponsor.
Pwede niya sponsor, definitely.
Ano may age yun,
Wag lang
attorney?
lalagpas ng 22 years old. 22, less than 22, basically. Less than 22 years old, pwede pa. So kung wala pa siya sa 22, pwede niyo pa po siyang sponsoran. By that time, kailangan niya mag-decide on his or her own. Pupunta ba siya dito? Sasama ba siya sa iyo dito sa Canada or not?
Pero
Decision
kung
niya na
over
yun.
22, hindi na yun under the parental sponsorship.
Hindi na siya dependent unless na meron siyang certain disability. So pwede pa. Yun nga lang, kung may disability. 22 years and above, pwede pa kung may disability. Kung wala, hindi na. So, hindi
On
na
his
siya,
own na
on his
yung
own na siya. So,
application.
doon na siya sa economic class, which is siguro di-discuss natin at some other episode. Pero hindi na siya pwedeng sponsor nyo, or at least not at this time.
So, kung nandun pa rin siya sa 22 and below, tas na-approve na siya dati, do they go through the process again?
Hindi. So,
Pwede pa rin.
na-declare nyo naman na siya. Pero yeah, it's a separate application para makarating siya. Kasi at that time po siguro na naging PR kayo, non-accompanying yung nilagay nyo doon sa anak ninyo. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo na siya pupunta dito. So, hindi siya pa in-applyan ng PR. Pero, the good thing is, dineclare nyo siya. So, pwede nyo siyang
You can take
sponsoran later
it from
on.
there.
Yes, later. Yeah. But that
okay.
would be a separate application.
Okay. Si Francis Tayoto, my wife is already a PR and I'm the husband. Nandito na po ako sa Canada working with LMIA. Pwede ko ba sponsoran para maging PR na rin?
Yeah.
Pwede ba akong sponsoran para maging PR na rin?
Pwede po.
Yeah.
Pwede yung mga ganyan situation. So,
Kasi the wife is PR eh. Diba?
Right,
Tapos
exactly.
nandito siya LMIA. So, they just go through the process of sponsoring.
Tama po yun. So,
Ano yun?
sponsorship
Pwedeng
na.
DIY din, attorney, yung sponsorship process? Paano?
pwede naman DIY. So, all applications can be DIY. Depende lang kung meron kayong time. Kasi siyempre marami kayong babasahin. And then sometimes merong mga hindi clear sa inyo. You just have to get the right information. So as I mentioned, ang mga sources nyo, siyempre yung Government of Canada website, basahin nyo. Sa mga forums din. Although, be careful kasi siyempre hindi naman lahat na sinasabi doon is tama. Sometimes tama, sometimes hindi. It's up to you na kung kung sino yung paniniwalaan mo doon. And then the other thing is, pwede kayong humingi ng legal advice from an immigration consultant or lawyer. O, siyempre, paid yun, but definitely it will be worth it kung masasagot yung mga tanong nyo. Pero, yeah, it's up to you, DIY or through a consultation or parang package na. Like us, we offer that as a service. Package na, kami nang bahala. Hindi mo na kailangan magbasa, kami na magbabasa para sa'yo. Mag-guide ka namin, sabihin na lang namin sa'yo anong requirements, submit mo ito. So, ganun lang. So, at least, maayos yung ano mo. Hindi mo na siya intindihin ba? I mean, you can just do what you need to do, magtrabaho ka, hindi mo na kailangan isipin masyado yung application mo. Kami nang bahala nun.
Maintindihin yung mga application. But
Right.
just to clarify also, kasi the other people might think na, meron kasi akong kakilala dati, akala niya, pag kumuha siya ng immigration lawyer or immigration consultant, sila na rin ang kukuha ng mga requirement.
Ay, hindi.
Kayo pa rin kukuha ng requirement.
Tama po
Like
yan.
your
Opo.
bank statements, for example. You still have to be
Exactly.
the one. Your diploma, you still have to do the IELTS. But
Exactly.
they give you kung ano yung mga kailangan yung isumite sa kanila at pwede kayong mag-consult.
Ang analogy ko nga dyan, Cherry, para lang kaming cook. Kayo mag-provide ng ingredients. Lulutuin namin yan para sa inyo. Pero, dalhin nyo yung ingredients sa amin. Hindi kami ang mamamalengke, kayo. So, something like that. Yun
That's
po
a
yung
good analogy. Kasi kayo din ang kakain at mabubusog
Yeah.
pag naaprubahan.
Exactly.
Hindi ba? Anna H. is watching. Hi, Anna. She's watching from Whitby, Ontario.
Oh, malapit lang yun.
Lapit lang. Sabi naman question ni Jovina Mendoza and Ray Mendoza, Attorney, paano po kung may anak ang asawa ko sa iba, kaso hindi niya na-declare yung dalawa niyang anak? Pwede po bang makuha? Binigay na nung nanay yung dalawang anak sa amin. So may anak sa iba yung asawa niya. Apelido po ng asawa ko ang gamit. Eldest is 18 na this year, yung second is 15 or 16 na po. Sana po makuha namin. Citizen na po kami dito sa Canada.
So, possible, pero medyo complicated po itong sitwasyon ni Mr. Mendoza. I would suggest na you reach out to us po siguro pagdating dito kasi medyo complicated siya. Pwede o hindi pwede. Hindi ko rin sure pa kasi yung hindi pag-declare, malaking ano yun eh. Malaking impact nun eh. Pag hindi mo din declare, actually, hindi mo na siya pwedeng sponsor. Ganon ka-harsh kasi nga, as we mentioned earlier, ina-expect ni Canada na maging truthful ka dun sa application. So that's how they enforce it. So they expect you to provide all the right information, the truthful information. Pag hindi truthful yung ginawa mo, may repercussion. So kung hindi mo din-declare yung dependent mo, hindi mo na siya pwedeng sponsor. Pero meron policy na medyo ni-relax yun, yung rule na yon. So may instances na pwede pa rin, especially kung under family sponsorship din yung way kung paano naging PR yung wife ninyo. Kung under economic class kasi, hindi. So again medyo nagiging technical na tayo ng konti, kaya ayoko na siyang masyadong i-discuss kasi baka makatulog lang kayo. Pero,
Depende kasi sa
opo. So I think we need to discuss this in detail siguro po with Mr. Mendoza. So if you have the chance po, reach out to us.
So lesson naman for those who are still early in the process, if you don't declare, for example, your children from another marriage or another partnership, you might not be able to sponsor those children later on. Diba? So parang
Totoo po yan.
looking
And one
forward
word of
naman
caution
ito.
din po kasi from our practice, marami kaming ganitong situation. Yung iba hindi dinideclare kasi ayaw nila ma-delay yung application nila. Something like that. Huwag niyo pong gawin yun. Kasi nga malaki yung repercussions noon. So kahit ma-delay ng konti, okay lang. Pero at least, di ba, may sasama niyo yung anak niyo. Kasi kung hindi niyo dineclare, tapos ito yung parang penalty sa inyo, hindi niyo masasama yung anak niyo. Diba,
later
napakalaking impact nun. Hindi niyo makasama yung anak niyo.
Minsan, baka ngayon ayaw nyo pa, hindi nyo naman alam. In the
Exactly.
future, baka gusto nyo nang dalhin di ba?
Yeah. So,
I-declare
magdalawang
na lang.
isip kayo doon. Yeah, i-declare nyo as much as possible. Kahit may konting delay, that's fine. Think long term. Kasi yung bata din yung kawawa eh. So, di ba? Hindi niya na kayo makakasama dito. So, don't do that.
Okay. Armando Bontipola Jr., nagpapasalamat siya at blessing daw kayo, attorney, at dumaan
Salamat po.
kayo sa wall ko. Attorney, PR po ako. Pwede ko po ba ma-sponsor ang kapatid at tatay ko?
Possible po. Hindi pa natin na-discuss yung kung sino-sino yung mga pwedeng
O kasi this is
sponsor,
spousal, no? But he's asking
concentrate sa
about...
spousal, pero pwede pong i-sponsor ang parents and even other relatives like brothers or sisters and even uncles, aunts, niece, nephew, cousin. Pero with certain conditions. So, hindi like automatic lang. Basta may kapatid ka, sponsor. Hindi po ganon. So, depende po. And usually, dun sa mga extended relatives natin, pwede lang natin silang i-sponsor kung wala na tayong ibang ma-sponsor. Halimbawa, wala na tayong mga magulang na pwedeng i-sponsor. Wala rin man tayong asawa, anak. Wala tayong ibang kamag-anak dito sa Canada. Pwede yon. So, we usually call it yung loan Canadian rule. So, but pwede po. At least ang sagot dun sa tanong is, pwede nyo i-sponsor yung kapatid or yung tatay. Subject to certain conditions nga po.
Anong tawag doon, attorney?
Loan Canadian rule, or sometimes they call it lonely Canadian kasi mag-isa daw lonely.
Loan Canadian.
Loan or loan.
Para alam din nila kung ano yung search nila.
Yeah. So, may ganun po.
diba? Okay. Ito na tanong na kanina din, paano pag undeclared ang mga dependent? So yun nga, no?
Yeah.
Yun yung consequence pag hindi na-declare. When we say declared,
pwede or
attorney, this is in your past applications? Kasi
Yes po.
tinatanong ilan na anak mo.
Exactly. So, ganito po yan.
Okay.
Kasi para din sa kaalaman ng iba, pag, halimbawa, kayo mismo, nag-apply kayo for permanent residency, i-declare nyo sino yung asawa nyo. May asawa ba kayo? Lagay nyo doon. May mga anak ba kayo? May dependents ba kayo? Ilagay nyo doon. Kailangan nyo ilagay doon kasi package yun eh. So, pag in-evaluate ng officer, yung PR application nung principal, damay kasama yung mga dependents and kasama yung asawa. So, ibig din sabihin, pag meron doon na inadmissible, at some point siguro di-discuss natin yung ano ba yung mga inadmissibility. Pag meron doon na inadmissible, yung lahat kayo inadmissible, including the principal. So, halimbawa lang, just to give an example, yung isang anak, let's say 18 years old, may kinumit na crime, criminally inadmissible siya. Lahat kayo inadmissible, unfortunately, pati yung principal. So, ganun siya. So, kailangan i-declare nyo siya, whether or not sasama siya dito sa Canada, kailangan ilagay nyo siya dun sa documents nyo para ma-evaluate ng officer. And yun lang po yun. And that's how important it is. Kaya, ini-expect ng officer na ilagay nyo lahat ng information doon.
Okay. Fortunately, we ran out of time. We're 5 minutes
Bilis pala
over
ng oras.
time. But thank you for those who watched and for those who are watching us either, on replays on YouTube or Facebook or wherever social media channel. You can still post your questions. We still try to check that and masagot pa rin ni attorney. And we posted the contact details of Attorney Jake sa live chat natin. So pwede nyo tingnan yan dyan. We'll put the graphics, next Thursday for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Attorney Jake.
Salamat din, Cherry. At salamat sa mga nanonood. Pasensya na at hindi na natin nasagot yung iba pa mga tanong, pero we'll try to give more time next time siguro.
We'll see you again next Thursday. Thank you so much. And good day, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. See you next week.